Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor with the Internal Revenue Service. Welcome to my YouTube station. Many of you have come to me from my national broadcast. I've been on TV many times on national news. I've been on Fox, ABC, The Briefing Room, CBS, NBC, News Nation, Newsmax, and a bunch of other stuff. You can go to 777irs.com. You can see some of the videos there. More importantly, you can see my team of former IRS agents who really are the rock stars of everything that I do. I try to make honest YouTubes for you. I give you insider information when I can about IRS and what IRS in fact does. And I just tell you the truth really about everything. You should know I'm a former revenue officer, and I worked and taught the offer and compromise program. I used to accept offers and deny offers and compromise. So I was a teaching instructor for those who inspire to work offers and compromise. So what I tell you today, it's coming from one of the most experienced revenue officers in the offer and compromise for as long as I've been practicing and living. Peter Salinger of my office has worked over 2,500 offers and compromise as a field branch chief for Internal Revenue Service and also for a large case group for offers and compromise. He oversees every offer and compromise and an offer and compromise work. He moved down to Tampa to be a settlement officer and worked in appeals only. The offer and compromise is the most how do I say this? The offer and compromise is the most misaligned program of Internal Revenue Service. Pardon me, I've had a little bit of the flu. Because everybody believes they can settle the IRS debt. According to every ad, every marketing poll, no matter who you are, everybody can settle with IRS. You see it on Facebook, you see it from Instagram, you see it everywhere. You see it absolutely everywhere that you can settle for IRS. It is, to be honest, a big lie. Just absolutely not true. Only certain people qualify for offers and compromise. You need to know that. Right now, very few people qualify. A matter of fact, last year, I think 16,000 people in the country got accepted for offers and compromise, and about 80% of those were rejected. I want to tell you the cardinal rule for the offer and compromise so you know what the offer and compromise is. The offer and compromise specifically is for people who do not have money to pay their IRS debt. The first thing that IRS looks at, the very first thing that IRS looks at is what are the value of your assets. If you have the ability to pay IRS and pay them in full, if you liquidated everything, equity, pension, cars, everything you had, bank account, and you can pay the debt, IRS is not going to accept an offer and compromise. IRS is so bold as they go ahead and actually put together a pre-qualifier tool at irs.gov. It's a good indicator, not a perfect indicator, whether you are eligible for an offer and compromise. The offer and compromise comes down to two things. It comes down to assets, and it comes down to your income and expense analysis that IRS is going to use. IRS is going to drill down on every asset you have so they get a true picture and a true value. They're going to look at the value of your home on realtor.com, at the courthouse records, and on Zillow, and they're going to get a good idea what real estate you have if you have it. IRS is going to look at your income, and they're going to look at your expenses, and they're going to apply their national standards program. If you don't know what that is, do not file an offer and compromise unless you know what the IRS national standards is. If you want to know more about them, you can go ahead and Google IRS national standards for 4 areas: housing and utilities, for IRS housing and utilities, for housing and expenses, for car payments, it's late in the day, and IRS for car operations. IRS will dictate you through the Department of Labor exactly what you're going to be allowed in your region and actually the county you live in. IRS has a chart that they will go ahead and tell you in your county by number of persons you have what they're going to allow. If you put any more than those, IRS in fact is not going to go ahead and allow that. IRS has a couple different offers and compromise where you can pay them in 5 months or over a period of 2 years. You get to pick the choice of offer and compromise that you go ahead and want. So when you put your offer and compromise together, the offer goes to a group area, usually in Memphis or Brookhaven, and they will look at it, and the first line processors look to see if it's processable. Is there a check with it, and does everything on the offer make sense? After that happens, they go ahead and send it to a group manager in an area deemed worthy to work that offer. Tougher offers go to grade 12s, which are your higher grade offers, 11 and 12 and 13s, and then you may have a group 11 work and offer, a revenue officer work, a revenue officer work offers and compromise as well. Offers and compromises are certain groups within IRS. They are trained within IRS. It usually takes a week to 2 weeks to learn the offers. They review offers with each other. They make sure what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and then they will send back an evaluation of what they will accept, what they will allow, what you did wrong on the offer. And the two areas they criticize the most are what your asset value was and also your expense ratio to income they did not like, and they will make adjustments on. If you do not like what that person said, you can go ahead and appeal the decisions. It's very time sensitive. You have 30 days to go ahead and make an appeal with Internal Revenue Service. If you don't make it within that 30 days, you will go ahead and have to file a new offer. An offer in compromise extends the statute a year plus the time it was in offer status. If you do not like the offer and the offer goes to an appeals officer, it's called a settlement officer. That person will look, they won't raise new issues, they'll look at the facts that were there and they will give you another ruling. Once again, if you don't like that, you can go ahead and file another offer the next day. You should correct what was wrong, do the right thing, and send it in. There's another type of offer, two other type of officers. One is effective tax administration, which means you can pay the offer, but as a result of a sickness or a malady in the family, you're asking IRS to accept the offer based on probably the mortality of a person, and they will need that money for the rest of their life to live on. They're based on mortality factors and other things. The other type of offer is an offer doubt as to liability, where you got assessed the tax. It could have been a bad audit. You didn't agree with it. You have the facts to dispute it, and you can go ahead and send an offer and compromise in on the doubt as to liability. There's a lot about an offer. I just want to cover basic information in here. There's a lot of technical information that you'll have to study and learn, but you have to make sure you send in a qualified offer and compromise, not one of garbage, but one based on facts and that you could document. The other thing I always urge people to do is to put a cover letter on every offer, no more than a page and a half. As a former revenue officer and looking at offers, you look at offers and offers and offers. One case becomes another case, but when you see a cover letter, what's really cool, it separates you from the other person. Plus, if you can put documentation to it and exhibits to it, it makes the case real. Don't use more than a page and a half. It's very important you file all your tax returns, pardon me, and make sure you make estimate payments or your withholding is up to date, or IRS will reject the offer. That's all I have. Would you give me a nice a subscription if you can? It's getting late at the night. I did as much as I can. I thank you very much. Give me a like, a comment, but a subscription really helps me. Thank you very much.